Buildings, including the one that we're going to go visit later, Coldrop's Yards. So she knows a lot about a lot of things, and she's going to talk to you about some of our London projects, so things that you might have seen, you might have been on. Okay.
So this is our studio, which is where we are now. We've been here for
Well, the studio's 25 years old. We haven't been here for 25 years.
here for over 10 years,
Yeah.
I'd say. And this building used to be a car park. So there's a hotel next door. And when we first took the building, it was where all the cars were parking for the hotel. And we turned it into our studio space, so a place where people could work. And we like to work surrounded by lots of objects. So when you look around outside, you'll see lots of things. And a lot of them we've made here in our studio, and then some of them we've also collected from other places. So I think this object here is a boat that Thomas brought back from one of his holidays. So we like to look at interesting things and how they're made, and they inspire our work. And this is our workshop, which we'll go and have a look at a bit later. So this is where all of these things are made, and we have a whole team of people who are dedicated to making, but also as architects we like to get involved also in that making process and play with materials and see how that might inspire us to design buildings. So we work a lot now in the computer, designing things, but then we're also always looking at things in the physical space. So these things that you see on the table were all made here. So we like to see things on the screen and also in the physical world. And we are working on projects all over the world, but we're going to talk today more about projects in London, which maybe you can see. And we like to work at all different scales. So we design things like furniture and also buildings, and also looking at whole parts of the city. So lots of different scales of design. And these are some of the projects that we have worked on. So have any of you ever been on one of these chairs? They're called sponges? Yeah? Where did you go on them?
On Coldrop's Yard.
Ah, so you've already been. Okay. So we'll have a go on these later when we go up to Coldrop's. And then we also design things like tables. This is a museum for art in South Africa. And also we like to design things which surprise people. So this is our cauldron for the Olympic Games in London, which was in 7 years ago, and we designed a big cauldron that was laying down, and it was lit, and then it all came together and became one cauldron as the opening ceremony for the Olympics. And then these are some other projects. When the studio first started, we really enjoyed making Christmas cards every year. So every year we'd have a team of designers who would design different Christmas cards that we would send out to all the friends of the studio and people that we worked with. And this is a design for a shop in London where we designed a sculpture that looked like it was escaping from the windows of the shop and coming out of the facade. And this is a glass house where we can grow plants in the south of England. And these are some larger scale projects. This is a staircase which is in New York, and you can climb the sculpture. It's very, very tall, and people can climb up all of these staircases to the top and then look out over the city to give people a different experience, something that you wouldn't normally expect in the city. And these are some bottles that we designed, perfume bottles, which you can see on the table. If you want to take them up.
They don't have any perfume in them.
So we like to think about the things that you touch and how it feels when you touch these materials. So we're often thinking about the small details. So these are this project here was made of many of these pieces, and each one has a seed in the end of it, which and each seed is different, from a big seed collection of Kew Gardens. If any of you have been to Kew Gardens in London, they gave us lots of seeds, and we put each one in the end. And when the building was taken down, we gave these seeds to lots of schools in China, so they became used for education.
Could you say a bit about the rolling bridge? Because I know that.
I think there's a video.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
right,
gonna show you
okay.
a video of that one. Yeah, so we like to design things which will surprise people that people haven't seen before. So this is a theatre in China, and inside this space there will be performances, and people can also be outside. And the facade of the building moves and spins around, so that when you're inside you get different opening windows as you look out from the building. And this is a table. So this is a table that can change shape. So you can use it as a circular table, or you can use it as a long, thin, oval-shaped table. So if you live especially in a small space, you can have furniture that changes and can be used for different things. This is a small piece of that table, and we make this model to work out how things move and how things work before we then tested the large scale on the whole table. This is the rolling bridge. So this is a bridge that we designed, and it's in Paddington in London. Have any of you seen this bridge? Have you? So it rolls up into a circle, and then it can unroll and become a bridge across the canal. I don't think I've ever seen it. Have you seen it as a bridge, or did you see it rolled up?
Just as a bridge.
Just as a bridge? I think I've only seen it rolled.
Yeah, I've only seen it as a bridge. I think if you go on a Friday lunchtime, you can see it do the whole thing. You see it come up and go down, yeah. But other than that, they only open it if a boat wants to come through.
Mm. So it looks almost like a caterpillar or an insect that is unrolling and becoming a bridge.
Oh, my God.
A hedgehog, yes, exactly. So when we work on these kinds of projects, we make lots of models in our workshop, and we might even look at pictures of things like hedgehogs and caterpillars as part of the process. Has anyone seen one of these buses in London? Have you been on one? The London buses is very obviously important in London, and lots of people use them in their daily life. And we were asked to redesign one of these buses. It was the first time, I think, in 50 years that we rethought what a bus could be. And this was really interesting for us to think about how do people travel around the city and what would make that more enjoyable. So we looked at how many different ways there would be to get onto one of these buses, and we had 3 doors. And in order to have 3 doors, we needed to make the bus much longer than the original bus. So in order to make it not feel too big when it was in the city, we curved all the edges of the bus to make it very soft and make it feel smaller. And we introduced windows which would run around the bus and follow how people walked up the staircases in the bus, and then where people would sit and be able to look out of the windows of the bus. So this is the current bus on the road, and then this is our bus, which you can see is softer. And this one is even softer. So this is a squishy bus that you can buy from, I think, the Transport Museum, which is turned into a soft toy. And when we were making this bus, we were making lots of models in our studio. So this is the seats in the bus, and we were building parts of the roof and parts of the window so that we could experience what it would be like to be in the bus before we actually made it. And where Janina's sitting here, this is one of the final seats, and this is the fabric that we designed to cover the seats.
What's really interesting about the fabric as well, so this is a bit of a secret. But so this bit is slightly curved, but this bit isn't curved at all. But to make it look more comfortable, you've got different patterns on it, so it makes it look almost like it's a bit more of a comfortable seat.
Yeah, very clever. But also, by having a pattern, it means in things like seats, when people drop chocolate and food on the seats, we have to disguise that they're getting dirty. So by having this kind of colours and patterns, it means they don't look too dirty even when they are. Yeah, and we also thought about where the lighting was and how people would feel when they sit on these buses, because lots of people are using them a lot during the day. And these are the new staircases which take you up and down onto the top of the bus.
I went on this bus last week.
Did you? Where did you go?
We went to a workshop and we was building stuff for a museum. And then in August we come back to see it.
Oh, wow. Did you enjoy going on the bus? That's good to hear. So these stairs look a bit like you've pulled them out from the side of the bus. So our idea was to kind of stretch and pull things and create places for people to walk. And this is the whole inside of the bus. So we had to think about all of the different parts of it, where people would hold onto the handrails, where people would push the button to stop and put their Oyster cards, all of these little things that we wanted people to enjoy when they're using the bus. This is another project which is in London. Can anyone guess what this is? So this is an air vent. So it's used to take hot air from underground all the way out of these vents. And often these kind of things are not very nice to look at, and we hide them in the city. So we wanted to create something that was celebrating where this air movement was happening in the city. And it looks almost like it's made of two different materials, with this dark material and light material. But that's just a piece of folded metal, and when the light shines on it and you see the shadows, it looks almost like two different colours. So here is, this is where the air is created down here with these fans, and then it comes up out of these vents and goes into the atmosphere. And this is the pattern that hot air would create coming out of the vents. So we were looking at the shape of these airflows and responding to that with this still patterns. And our idea was to take a piece of paper and fold it into many triangles, and that would create the shape of this vent. And there's two of them, and they are like a mirror image of each other, following those flows of the air. And we made some very big models here in our studio. So this is just out here, where we had some folded pieces of metal, and we created big models to see what they would look like when they were made. And we're going to have a go at making some of these vents. So we've got some pieces of paper here. And is anyone good at origami? Paper folding?
Yeah.
We're going to have a go. Do you want to pass? Awesome. Our studio, and these red lines show two of our new projects which are just down the road in King's Cross. So this is called Drops Yard, which you've been to and we're going to go visit later. And then this long building here is another project for Google, and that's going to look something like this. So it's a project that is now being built. So when we walk up the road, we'll see some of the first bits of the building which are being built. And in a few years' time, this is what it might look like when it's finished. And this building is a place for 4,000 people to work. So there'll be lots and lots of people inside the building working at this level, and then there's a huge garden on the roof of the building, which all of those people can go out and see. Yes?
I've heard it's the length of the Shard on the side. Is that true?
Yes, true. This shows you that.
Oh, wow.
So this is the Shard lying down. Where did you hear that?
Because I've gone to the temporary building, and they have they sort of told us a bit about it when we were looking at the model.
Mum's work is the Shard.
Does she work in the Shard? She must have amazing views over London because it's very tall, isn't it? So a building that's very, very long on the ground is called a ground scraper, where a tall building is called a skyscraper. So we call this Google building a land scraper building. And then this is Coldrop's Yard, and these drawings show you how this part of London has changed over time. So over 100 years ago it would have looked like this. So there would have been many, many train tracks running on the ground and bringing all kinds of coal and different materials into London. But over time that's changed, and we've been part of designing some of those buildings, but there's lots and lots of architects involved in designing different bits of that part of London. And these are the original buildings that we were working with. Yes?
I've been on the seesaws in Coldrop.
Have you?
I love this. I wish they were still there.
Yeah, and they were lighting up, weren't they, and playing music. Yeah. So when we go up later, there'll be something new there. So it's always changing. There'll be different things. So these are the original buildings, which were designed for coal. So those trains, which I showed you, the train tracks, the trains would have driven into the building on train tracks, and then they would have dropped pieces of coal down through the trains, and then horses and carts would have been waiting on this street, and they would have put the coal onto the carts and then driven around London and dropped that off at people's homes so they can heat their houses. But now we don't need coal, so the buildings were no longer needed in the same way, and so they became warehousing and places where people would store goods. And now we were asked to transform them into shops and restaurants for King's Cross. So this was how the building would have been, and the trains would have sat up here on the train tracks, and then this would have been the level where all the horses and carts would have been waiting for that coal. And the buildings are very long and thin, as you'll see when we go later, and the site is almost the same size as St Paul's Cathedral. So it's a very big building. And when we rented the site, we wanted to create a place for people. So somewhere where people would like to go and spend time and do things like seesawing and sitting and watching interesting performances. So not just going and buying things. So these are small pictures of the site, and remember these when we go up to the building later, because you'll be able to see how much the buildings have changed through our design. So these were the original warehousing spaces, which were very big, and all of the arches would have been open because all of the smoke from the trains would have been able to come out of the building through these big openings. So this was all the testing that we do in the computer, but then we also made lots of different models using card and wood. So these were some early models that we made, just peeling pieces of paper. So similar than how we worked with these vents where we were folding paper, here we were peeling paper and stretching them between the buildings and trying out how we could do that in different ways. And these are some other models that we made, all working with pieces of card. So our idea was that we would stretch the roofs. So we take those pieces of building and then we pull them and stretch them, and then they kiss in the middle. So we call this point here the kissing point, the point where the two buildings kiss. And that creates this big space on top of the buildings which wasn't there before, which means that people could stand up here and look out over the public space down below and see different people doing things. And this is our studio team. So we have about 200 designers at Heatherwick Studio, and this was on the opening day of the building. We all went up to the building and took a picture together because we were very happy that the project was finally open and we could enjoy it. And yeah, when we go up and have a look at the building later, you can look out for some things on the building. So there's lots of old things which we kept. So these signs here tell you what number bay of the building you're at, and they were there from when the building was a storage unit. So we kept lots of things from the old days of the building, and you'll also see these new moments where things touch. So you'll be able to spot where does the old building meet the new parts of the building that we've designed. And after the seesaws, there was these flowers throughout the yard. Yes?
If you go back a bit, you also like see that, yeah, here you, like, it goes all together because with the gas ring flats, it goes well because the gas rings, they kept a bit of the, like the poles, and you kept the sides of the building.
Yes, exactly. So part of this part of London was about reusing these existing buildings and reusing their character and then adding new things to them rather than just getting rid of the old things. So you're exactly right. Hopefully they work well together. Yeah, and then we can go up into this new space at the top, which is one big shop. And you can look down and see the public space below.
And that opened this Wednesday, so it's still really new.
Yes, yeah, 2 days ago. Does anyone know what these are? So these are models that we made in our studio, and they are lift buttons. So when you want to go in the lift at Cold Drops, you will see these funny objects, and in the ends of them, you will see lift buttons that you can push, and then you can go in the elevator. And so we really like making things that surprise people and that people will touch. So these are the models that we saw on the screen, and they are using a 3D printer. Does anyone know what is a 3D printer? So it's a machine that prints kind of dust and turns it into an object. So we printed lots of these models so that we could feel and see the scale of them and how they would be in the final building. And then these are the final objects, which are made of bronze. And then they're painted with this lovely texture. So when we go up to Cold Drops, we can go and look at each one of the lifts. We'll have a different button, and we can go and push them all. We've got them. I think that. So, well, for me, I've been working on Cold Drops for 5 years. So for the last 5 years, that's all I've done. So for me, that's very special because I've been involved in every small thing on those projects. But there's lots of other projects that I can also special. Yes?
Why do you want to be here?
Why? Because I like to create places for people, and I think where we spend time in the city and in buildings is most of our life spent in these spaces, and it's important that they're designed in a way that make people enjoy them and make people happy to use them. So that's why I wanted to be an architect, and I think that's how we try to design buildings, is to make people happy and enjoy them. Yes?
Why did you join Heatherwick Studio?
Right. Because Heatherwick Studio like making things. So as I've shown you, we think a lot about materials and we think a lot about making. And a lot of architects don't think as much about the actual materials and encouraging people to touch and interact with buildings. And also thinking about buildings that lots of people will use. So we like to work on projects that lots of people can enjoy and go to, not just people's homes where not many people will go, but projects that are open for lots of people.
And so one more, how did he take that back from his holiday? It's quite big to fit in a suitcase.
It is, isn't it? So I think it might have come on a boat.
Yeah, it was definitely shipped over. So Thomas came back from his holiday and then we organised for it to be brought to the studio. But there's lots of things like that. So we've got, see this big hanging tassel over there. So that had to be brought over from China as well. So we're very used to having to get big things delivered here, which is tricky but fun.
I remember the day this boat arrived on the lorry, and lots of people went outside to go and receive it, and we had no idea what it was. But Thomas, brought it on his holiday.
Where is the boat from?
It was from Vietnam. It's just the amazing work that's gone into making it.
Yeah.
And it shows that inspiration and ideas can come from anywhere. So when you're on holiday or when you're out walking in the city, you can see things that later will give you ideas for what you might design.
Should we have a look at the workshop? And things?
And then all of these people in here spend their time here trying out different things, making models. Just for spray.
I reckon that those will be wet, so definitely don't touch them. Yes.
Big noses. Pardon? Lots of things, which are all used to make different kinds of models.
Why do you have so many pliers?
Because often the parts of the model are so small that your fingers are too big to hold them. So you might have to use these pliers to put things on the model. We can have a look at some models outside. Project, you can see the rolling bridge. Those are the vents that we just made. Those are origami
Those are
vents.
there.
These are the sponge chairs. So we put lots of different things from
There
our
are
own
some.
projects.
There are some. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There's a bed then.
We'll go on them when we
I
go
can
up.
just see them.
This is one office. So this is a project in America, and everybody works on one floor. And everyone can see everybody else, but there's these little spaces where people can go and have more private spaces within that big space.
There's also steps.
Those are going down, so things like the toilets and where you would do printing,
And you could go down these steps
yes,
into this area and that area and all of this area. Yeah. How long did it take you to make all of this?
To make this model,
Yeah.
quite a long time. So we've got quite a lot of people who make them, but this would have probably taken a couple of people, maybe 4 or 5 months to make.
yes.
Oh, that paid off.
Yeah.
It's awesome if you look through there. And there's glass things too.
This is not our studio, unfortunately. We don't have enough people to work in a building like this.
No.
Maybe one day we'll do this size.
How did you put it in America?
So these would have been 3D printed, and so the little sponges. So it's a mix of kind of ready-made elements that you can buy from people who make models. So the people we would probably have bought in, but kind of bespoke things we would have made on a 3D printer, and then obviously the woods we would have cut. And things like this we would have had to make ourselves because that's not kind of normal.
So it's just to give an idea.
What are those like stringy things?
To have meeting in.
No, not cagey things. Cagey things.
Yeah, those are to have meetings in.
You don't have meetings in those.
Yes, you do.
Maybe they do.
You do not have meetings in
I think they could have one in the bottom, maybe.
Yeah, in the bottom, but not
Maybe
in
not in the
that.
top.
Not in that.
No.
Maybe it's just for decoration.
Yeah, maybe just decoration, the same with that giant pumpkin.
Where are the leaves?
Actually, proper size.
The leaves are down here somewhere. In one of these boxes, there'll be toilets.
Good.
And then in one of them, there'll be a kitchen that will make food.
Good.
And some printers and other things. Do you think you'd like to work in a building like this?
That
Definitely.
looks like
I'd like to own a building like this.
I like how you designed the top. It looks really nice. And the top.
Okay.
So on the roof, it's covered with solar panels, which will generate electricity from the sun.
Yeah, you can bring it down.
It's just holding it down.
Would they have it in real
The
life or
wind
just
will lift
this?
up. The wind will try to lift up the roof, so we have to make sure that it's held along.
Let's test.
Look, Anton defined
This is
that egg,
this is my emoji egg.
and now it's drawing it.
Time.
Would you like to make one as well?